The following roster and modding were provided by a willing individual. All remarks are meant for enjoyment and educational purposes.
Welcome back to the class, everyone. Today we have another mod shaming video for you all, and today we are going to be focusing on Sith Empire. More specifically, Sith Empire with our good friend Malgus. And this does change things a little bit for how you mod the team because he brings some new elements to the table within the GAC board. And it is important that we mention the user who asked for this said they're trying to draw out galactic legends from their opponent, specifically C. This is good to know because you can't really mod Malgus out of beating or into beating C. C is always going to beat it unless the opponent makes a critical error or doesn't take in some type of precaution like Watt or maybe another Sith to be able to take a few hits off in the beginning. Even then, solo C can actually beat a lot of Malguses. That being said, if we're wanting to draw out a galactic legend, we have to stop the primary counter that isn't a galactic legend from being Darth Malgus, and that's gas. So without further ado, let's get into it. Darth Malgus, I've already seen this. I guess this isn't a great one to start shaming on because Darth Malgus is perfect. He has every single thing that you want him to have. If we look at here, we have all health sets. The reason why this is important, number one, you want Malgus to be tanky, so you have a few options there between health and defense. If you're, again, we're wanting to stop gas specifically, we have to remember he has not only armor shred, but he has certain characters on his team that can just ignore defense, primarily being Arc Trooper, as well as, I guess, Rex's big hit, but that's not really relevant because we're immune to max health damage. So health sets are correct. Not only health sets are correct, but health primaries are correct on top of that. We are going to get a massive pool. I don't even have to talk about all the junk that comes in his leadership that is going to increase his health even higher and higher and higher. And not only is this good for survivability, but if we look at Dark Deception here, it deals true damage to 40% of Darth Malgus' max health. So you really want as much max health as possible. There's only one thing you want in addition to max health and speed, because, you know, almost every character wants speed so they can actually take turns and do things. Crit avoidance. And you have a crit, not only a crit avoidance, but a crit avoidance with 20 speed, 22, as well as 8% health. This is perfect. This is so stinking good. Because the reason why I want crit avoidance is not just so that we take reduced damage. Yes, the reduced damage is nice. But you have to remember when gas is coming at Malgus, you have to stop him from increasing Malgus' cooldowns. Because if he's able to increase Malgus and really the whole team's cooldowns every single hit, then you can't get back to your Dark Deception. You get stuck using this really crummy basic every single turn, which, you know, increases your max health. But if you can't use the attack that does damage based on max health, what good was it anyways? So really good there. And the reason why 35% critical avoidance is relevant is because through the Omicron, which our player here has 80% critical avoidance. So it pushes it to 115%, which even for gas with all of his bonuses, he's not going to be able to crit that every single time. Very good on Malgus. Now we get to some shaming. So let's go to Darth Malak. And let me just ask, what are we doing here? Typically, when you get into the later stages of modding, you need to really start pushing characters in one direction. Occasionally you get characters that need, 3 or 4 stats, but typically you want them to really start to rely on one thing. And here we're like half relying on 3 things and getting nowhere really fast. So Darth Malak under the Malgus lineup really needs to focus on being a brick. He just needs to be really stinking hard to kill. And on top of that, he doesn't really need tenacity. The way his kit works, he can kind of get whatever debuffs that are out there and he'll just roll with them. The only way that tenacity was really important is for when he's doing solos, so he doesn't get healing immunity and stuff like that. In the Malgus lineup, he's not doing solos. So let's go ahead and take a look here. The one thing that I will say is very good is we have protection primaries on all 4 of these. Malak, regardless of the lineup that he's in, will turn protection into his max health. So he's just going to be super tanky no matter what, as long as you have those protection primaries on him. I'm really not that too keen on him just having a bunch of speed. Don't really need that. I will say, don't put crit avoidance on Malak. So different from Malgus, the reason why is every single time he's crit, he is going to be giving the opponents, he's going to be giving them fear. So we don't really want to push characters out of fearing us, even gas for that matter, because I would rather gas increase my cooldowns and be feared than us to just take the hits. So that's what we're looking at. I will also say either go all in on defense or go in on all health. The only reason why Malak is going to benefit from defense is we talked about armor shredder attacks that ignore armor. The one thing that really does get in the way of that is when we start to get our stacks of Dark Deception, we start getting some pretty nasty bonuses when it comes to defense. Let's see if I can find it here. Or I think it's actually in his thresholds, but when he gets below a certain amount of max health. Yeah, he gains 35% critical avoidance, health steal, tenacity, and defense. And then it keeps going, and then eventually gets tripled, and then it doubles or something like that. So you're working with a massive amount of bonus defense, to the point where even if you have characters who are hitting you with, say, when you have ferocity and you're getting your defense down, as well as armor shred, you still really can benefit a lot from the defense overall. So commit to one of those. Protection primaries are good. Don't really care too much about his speed. He needs to be a brick. You don't want anyone to get past him. So now, since we're going back and forth on our crit avoidance arrows, let's go ahead and take a look at Darth Revan. Doesn't have it. I really do advise this, getting crit avoidance on Darth Revan. He's a little bit squishy, him and Bastila Shan Fallen. So if you can cut out crits entirely, not only for the purpose, again, of reducing the damage that the opponent is doing, but also for the purpose of not having their cooldowns increased. Gas does have an AoE. He's going to get access to them even if someone else is taunting. That'll be really helpful. One thing you are doing really well, health primaries on him. Not only, there's two reasons why health primaries are really good. I mean, you want him to survive. But the other thing that's also awesome is that whenever Darth Revan's health falls below 50% health, it's equalized with other healthiest allies. So basically, the larger his health pool is, the less likely you're just going to get one shot. And the more likely you're going to keep yourself alive. And really, by sucking down your opponent just a little bit, you'll be able to keep your whole team alive farther, because our Force Storm here is really what is going to heal our entire team under Darth Malgus. So, want to aim for health. And the other reason to actually aim for health on Darth Revan, and all characters for that matter, yes, they get pretty good health bonuses through the leadership. But there's also a caveat in here. I don't remember if it's in the unique or the leadership, where whenever an ally is brought below 50% health, we are also going to inflict fear on the entire enemy squad. So again, we want to have characters that are be able to go just below that. The enemy gets feared, and then we have a chance to fight back. So Darth Revan is good. Needs some crit avoidance. Bastila Shan Fallen, same exact thing. Very, very good. Potency, I'm okay with this primary. The team does lack a little bit of potency under the Malgus team rather than the Darth Revan lead. We do still have ferocity, about 5 stacks. They're going to be coming in via Force Storm, so you do get backup in that regards. Health set is probably fine, but then again, here, very good. Health primary. Gonna make her really hard to kill. Typically, she's the first one that gets killed once the gas team, or really any team, gets access beyond the taunters. Crit avoidance. Work on it. Make it happen. Get her really hard to kill. Again, she's getting 80% from Darth Malgus. Make it 115%. Close that gap. Stop your cooldowns from being increased, and stop taking so much damage. Next up is going to be Sith Marauder. Sith Marauder is going to be really the most underwhelming as far as modding goes. It doesn't really matter what you do, how you do it. His kit carries him for most part. He gets some pretty insane bonuses for every time there's a buff on the field, as well as some really good bonuses for when there's a debuff. So, I mean, you can mod him. I think really the most important thing to mod him for is crit damage. You'll see here that he gets a lot of crit chance and offense for every debuff on the field, and that's going to make a difference. There's ferocity that's going around. You have a bunch of fear that turned other debuffs going on the enemy team, doubt and whatnot. So he's going to have a lot of that, and you have crit damage here. Like, this is all you want. You want a crit damage set, and you want a crit damage primary. That way, all the offense that's coming through his unique is going to let him just kind of slaughter a few things on the enemy side. I guess for a secondary, a defense set could actually be pretty good. I'm not going to sit here and tell you have to have it. That's really not going to change most matchups. I mean, get some of these to 60, if you will. This can be an offense primary. I don't think it changes much. Again, when you have 5 characters in your team, 5 characters in the enemy team, and each one has 5 debuffs, what are we looking at there? Like 50 debuffs, and you're getting a 100% offense boost from that alone. Sure, offense will help here, but it's probably better than speed, but again, it's not a hill that I'm going to die on. It also is worth mentioning that we get 20% turn meter when an enemy uses an ability outside of their turn, so countering or assisting, which again, the gas team does both those things a lot from multiple characters. So we don't, speed like isn't a huge emphasis. 83 is probably fine. Again, we're going to take turns every single time that Echo assists, every time that 5s are guest counters, or anytime that 5s call someone in to assist. We're going to have a lot of ways to do a lot of things there. So overall, you're very much in the right direction. aim for some crit avoidance on Darth Revan and Bastila Shan, turn Darth Malak into a brick, and I guess maybe touch up Sith Marauder in some ways if you see fit. But thank you guys for watching. And remember, if you want your team to be shamed as well, this is probably more of a positive shaming, do go ahead and check out the Discord link below in the description, where you can go in and there's instructions there. You put your ally code, you give me the 5 characters you want. Don't just say, you know, my Darth Revan team, because then there's several options there. I don't really know what you're saying. So give me the 5 characters, your ally code, and we'll see what we can do. But until the next time, stay awesome.